Clixed is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicecafe.com.
Welcome to Clixed.
Welcome everyone to this another edition of Clixed Sudden Death, a not-so-quick HeroClix podcast where we talk news, tournament reports, and more vital information to improve your HeroClix game. I'm working on my TV voice, you like it? I'm your host, Alex Cooze, and of course, joining me for this episode is the qualifier queen herself, Sam Powell.
What's up, everybody?
I'm trying to get a job, I guess, as the announcer for Price is Right or something.
You literally got into that a little too much there, Alex, but I like it. I
used to work in news a little bit in college. So anyway, it's a new year and a new us. We haven't recorded since December. So we're back. Just a friendly reminder, don't forget that Clickstuff is sponsored by The Rock and Lucky Dice Games. Also, Clickstuff is sponsored by Troll and Toad. Shop trollandtoad.com for all of your HeroClix needs. Trollandtoad.com has one of the largest inventories of HeroClix figures and sealed items on the web. Look for all new Marvel HeroClix Earth X set to be available February 6th. Sam, how often do you buy on Troll and Toad? Do you peruse their plentiful inventory of HeroClix?
I'll be honest, I think Daniel does enough shopping for both of us. That I don't need to go to Troll and Toad, but I know he's always buying from Troll and Toad, and also selling to Troll and Toad as well. So yeah, they're really good. They're really good people to us, and we're really happy that they sponsor our show. So
yeah, and before they even sponsor the show, I know me personally, I prefer Troll and Toad. A lot of it has to be is because I'm here in Tennessee and they're in Kentucky, so shipping. I think I've gotten it, obviously not same day, but I think I almost got it next day or the day after when I really needed something like a Nightwing ID card. I've ordered from them and I got it, I paid normal shipping and I got it in less than 2 days. It was great.
Yeah, and the experience I've had with Troll and Toad is at the conventions, nationals and stuff like that, Gen Con, and they're always so pleasant, and they always have just some random old clicks, and you're just like, wow, I haven't seen that in a long time. Or, you're just like, they actually still have those out and about. Why would they bring that to convention? But it ends up selling. Yep. I mean, people like the old stuff, I mean, you see someone always walking around with a Fing Fang Foom.
Oh, yes. So... Oh, yeah. Good old Fing Fang Foom.
Good old Fing Fang Foom. I wish he was, playable, but could you imagine walking at a convention with the orange Fing Fang Foom? I'm gonna play this in Worlds today, guys.
Yeah, I don't even know, was that a thing before? I joined HeroClix way after.
No, I don't think so. But could you imagine if it was some weird format
or the HeroClix? They have the
Cholula,
the Cthulhu,
yeah,
Cthulhu
or whatever, however
Cthulhu.
They say it.
That's giant, huge. I know a local player who brought one, and it is just massive, and it's a beautiful sculpt.
Some of those are worth a lot of money. A lot of money.
It's what people were hoping the monster grab feed was going to be, was a lot of those HeroClix type figures. But I like the set. I hope I wonder why haven't they done a second one of those?
I don't know. They don't make big HeroClix anymore. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Now we get Colossal's the size of Giant Girl, and you're like, well, that's not really Colossal. But I want something huge.
Exactly. All right, well, let's kick everything off by rolling into Click 1.
Click 1. News and upcoming events.
All right, we have quite a few tournaments coming up in February, so let's kick things off by me telling you what all the tournaments we have coming up in February. Saturday, February 2nd, we have 2 Rock qualifiers, one at the Rusty Scabbard in Lexington, Kentucky, and another at Eternal Games in Warren, Michigan. Sunday, February 3rd, we have one rock qualifier at MacNarb Games in Gontier, Mississippi. Saturday, February 9th, we have a qualifier at Highlander Games in Boonestown, New Jersey. We also have two regionals happening. One at Rockhead Games, Comics and Games in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and another at Orcs Lair in Youngstown, Arizona. Saturday, February 16th, we have a big regional down at Lucky Dice Games in Huntsville, Alabama. Sam, I think you're going to it.
I'm going to that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to it also.
Clixed is representing.
Finally, on Saturday, February 23rd, we have a qualifier at Space Cadets Gaming in Oak Ridge, Texas, and a regional at Comic Dimension in Greensboro, North Carolina. Be sure to check the Rock website for the many Winamaps. Those were only qualifiers and regionals that I talked about, but there's Winamaps going on all around the country. Check out the Rock website, and even if you're not looking for a Rock type event, just take a gander at the Win every once in a while. It's actually fixed. They were having that issue for a while where you'd try to type in a zip code or something and the map would give you an error message. It was a pain for me. But it's all working now from what I could tell. Get on the Win, take a look at some of the upcoming WKOs in March, maybe some pre-releases. Well, pre-releases are over, so releases, and just check out some fun local events.
Yeah, I was looking at the Rock website earlier, and Howard and them have done a really good job on making sure like things are up to date, and you can kind of see like where attorneys are, and it's. Yeah. I mean, like I'm astounded. Like there's so many events going on. Like it's kind of like you have your choice of where to go, almost. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's kind of one of those like I would love to travel to a lot of these places, but I'm just like I have to just pick and choose now. So.
Yeah, it's I guess you could say that's one of the benefits to the partnership between Rock and WizKids is, the Winamaps and whatnot. In order to get a Winamap, you have to officially register your event. You have to say, you can't just buy a Winamap and say, oh yeah, we're having one. Yeah.
Like you can't just run like your friends and be like, oh hey, there's 4 of us and we're all gonna play and kind of split the pricing. It's like you have to register so you have people coming and you're like, okay.
Yeah, like for example, locally, we've been starting to do Winamaps monthly, which we never really played a lot of Rock events locally. Yeah. So we're doing a Winamap on the 21st of February, and if you look at the Rock page, there it is, Winamap in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that's our constructed Winamap. And now I don't expect a lot of out-of-state people to come to that, but it's cool that a tournament locally is there on the Rock website, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's nice also because like when Dale and I travel, like when we go on vacation, we check places like, hey, are you guys having any are you have a HeroClix night? Like, do you guys have a tournament coming up? Because like we like to support, the small stores and the out of town stores. So we'll stop in and buy a couple boosters, and we're like, hey, do you have like an event going on? We'll try to stop in and play. Just to kind of, it's always good to help the community and kind of, I like to play against new people all the time. So just to see different formats, but I really liking this Winamap thing being cheap and easy to run, and you can play different formats, and I really like it.
And I'm not saying this just because we're sponsored by The Rock. I don't want it to be one of those, they're sponsored. They're trying to say good things about them. But for us locally, we didn't have, most of the other players didn't have a good experience with Rock, and so they were kind of soured on the idea years ago. And so with the new partnership, I kind of presented it and I said, all right, hey, we need to try this out. It's finally a way to get con LEs locally because not everyone travels from in-state to somewhere else. And so we tried a sealed tournament in January. It went great. We had 9 people, which was big for us.
That's a big Winamap, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was great. And so we everyone was on board, and we're going to do a Winamap monthly, split alternating between sealed and constructed at 2 of our different stores, and it's already showing that it's getting more local events involved because you used to have just OP kits, and people would either just buy those online, or half of the figures aren't even good in some of the OP kits. So
yeah, I mean we have a few new players in our group. I mean, of course, when we have a Winamap, you have like me, Jason, Daniel, David. You've got like a lot of good players, and this
A little
map,
intimidating.
but we have few new players, and they come out, and we're making the formats, like we're not playing modern all the time, so it's kind of making
Right.
it more, respectful to the casual players. And then, like, when we got done with our first winning map, Daniel did it winning, and then we kind of split the pricing, and like the new players who were like, we've never played in a rock or anything, so we were like, here, take all these objects and take the dice, and they were like, this is so cool. We're like, we just have a bunch of this stuff, so it was nice to kind of like, here, come back and play with us. And so I'm really digging this winning map thing. I think it's cool, and I like how the qualifiers are. I mean, they're ramping up. There's a lot going on. So.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some of the results of recent qualifiers here in click number 2. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about the recent news of sorts. It's more of clarification of colossal proportions, if you will. Last week, WizKids came out with a rules addendum to 2 main topics of cosmic proportions, if you will.
R.I.P.
So the first
giant girls. R.I.P.
So the first part was not really so much of a change. It was more of a clarification. And it's about moving multi-base characters. So what it was is that they were basically saying, all right, you have a 2x2 character. You pick one square that you're going to say that's the one you're moving from. And you basically move your person by that one square. So if you have to move 6, you pick that one square, you move 6, and place your figure around. You do not make swings. I think that's the main thing they wanted to make sure to take away, was that people would say, all right, I'm moving the top left corner of my Colossal. I move 6, and then I kind of just, this one corner moved 6, and I'm flipping everything around to the other side because this one corner only technically moved 6. They're saying, no. You need to drop that. Basically, you need to assume that you could fit through doors, because I guess that was another confusion. If you went to a place like the Underground, or there's like a single hallway of some sort, you're like, all right, Colossals can't fit in there. And they're saying, no, you just can't end there, but you can walk through it.
Yeah.
It's just you can't do the swinging. They came out, and there was nothing in the rules that really defined, okay, you can't swing.
I really like this clarification because it came up in one of my games at the qualifier.
Yeah, it's one that everyone kind of already assumed, but it wasn't written.
Yeah, because my thing was I was like, how is your Colossal sidestepping for, like, there was one square that he was moving 3, and I was like, wait a minute, and it was one of those, like, they were saying, well, this is how it was ruled in Worlds, and this is how it was ruled at Nationals, and it's like, okay, but like I don't get how this one square, like, you can't move. So I'm glad that there's finally, like, in the rule book on clarification of Colossal movement. So any judge, there's no disclaimer. There's no like, well, I was at Worlds. Well, I wasn't at Worlds. I wasn't in Philly. So I don't know who ruled that way. Like, was it Joe Schmo? Was it... Like, so I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, and of course we could probably blame Tyler for most of this.
Thanks, Tyler.
Not saying he did any swinging or anything like that, but generally when you see any sort of rules changes after Worlds, it's because the team that won Worlds, they had to look closer, I guess, because Uni was doing well at the Rock Cup, and then we got for example, last year's Worlds, Goblin King won. He was part of Howard's team.
Yep.
And right after that happened, Goblin King got a whatever it's called, an errata. They changed him and nerfed him a bit. Unimind did the same thing after the Rock Cup they December.
Changed his stuff. Yep.
So any kind of big tournament, they took a look at the teams, and that's kudos to Tyler, because they didn't nerf really the whales at all. They just said, hey, you for those wanting to play the whales, don't swing.
Yeah.
But the next part.
But we do get to blame Tyler for another year of Green Arrow, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to say that. I can say that on the podcast because I already told him I was going to. But we can blame Tyler Spees for a whole nother year of Green Arrow if they don't retire him.
Yeah, we're under the assumption is if Easton had won, they would have already retired, and that did an early Faust retirement for Green Arrow. So we like to poke fun at Tyler for that. So Sam, what the second clarification of colossal proportions actually does change the rules a bit, and like you said, it hurts the giant girls. What's going on with that?
So like I play the giant girls at Rock Cup and stuff, and like the benefit of playing a high theme colossal giant girl whales team or something like that is like when you play an extended starting area, the 4x4 like on Genosha or something like that, you kind of like extended your starting area forward. So then like, your objects were closer to you, your Mjolnirs and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like it was a bonus. You were like, okay, I'm extending forward. I have less movement to get to your area. But now they are saying, okay, you can't go forward, but you gotta go side to side.
Right.
So now you have to start filling side to side, and that I don't know if it hurts a lot of teams, but I mean, it's gonna change. I think some of the big theme team Colossals. Well, I'm not sure you'll see many giant girl teams played.
Well, but I don't know if it necessarily hurts the giant girls per se. Like you said, you played the Avengers at the Rock Cup. How detrimental would it be if you were not a couple squares away from your starting zone to pick up objects? Would it have been that big of a deal?
I never picked up objects with the giant girls, but like I used the giant girl to sidestep carry Star Fox onto Mjolnir because it was 5 away. So she was 2 out from the starting area. She carried Star Fox sidestep. He was on Mjolnir turn 1.
Right.
After calling in somebody or doing something. And also like if I go forward with the giant girls, like I could also have more movement to get forward. So then like I had more theme team probs in play. Right. Not really having to like take 2 actions to get a couple giant girls up there. I was just like, okay, I have enough movement with sidestep and my free movement from if Hawkeye, the Avengers, if a keyword of Avengers hit, they can move for free for 2 squares. I had that extra movement where I had the theme teams in play and I didn't have to spend the actions to get them up there. So,
exactly.
But
well, I think one of the bigger takeaways from this isn't just that you're moving sideways now. They didn't just stop there. Yeah. They also said when you're initially placing your figures, you have to start with the Colossals and fill your starting area with Colossals first, moving down in size. So it isn't, all right, I could put Hawkeye, Star Fox here in the starting zone, and then I'm expanding out with my giant girls. It's, all right, I've got to fill the whole thing with giant girls until I can't put giant girls anymore. And then I put my little guys. So that means if you're playing 6 to 8 Colossals, your little guys are probably going to be at the end, the corner of the maps, which is going to be detrimental for some people.
Yeah, that's definitely, it hurts. I mean, like, I don't know if it really hurts the whales. I know the whales team, it hurts them in the fact that Tyler can't move as far out.
Turn 1, yeah.
Turn 1. But, I mean, I don't know if having Mini Shredder on the end is detrimental because he can just put a whale there and the whales then carry in Mini. But as far as an Avengers team, that's rough. Like, if your Star Fox and Hawkeye are out in the open and you don't have other things by it, then you're kind of... Now, I haven't placed it on the maps. I haven't really put the Avengers team out since, Rock Cup, but who knows? Someone probably has already done it and knows how to map it out, and it doesn't really affect it. I don't know.
We will talk about that a little bit in the qualifier section because PJ did play that team.
PJ did.
Yes, which we'll talk about in a second. Just a few more points about the expanding starting areas I want to talk about. So one thing they said is that when you're taking into consideration placement for special terrain, special objects, anything that you have to be, around your starting areas, you consider the new expanding starting areas for those placements. You don't consider the original one until the beginning of game. So unfortunately, that means Groot is still kind of hosed because his whole "I give you Leslie, you give me 2. I have 2 walking woods" is a beginning of game thing. But if you expand your starting areas, your objects now have to go 5 squares away. So if you do have a bajillion Colossals and you do expand 1 row, you've expanded all your columns, and then you go
Mhm.
one row. You have to go 5 squares from that row now. So it's
Yep.
not to get to, I get 1 square closer. You have to
Now your
follow that.
object is 1 square closer to your opponent.
Yep. And I will say, I have always found the setup portion of the game to be the messiest part of the game, in my opinion.
It
Because
is.
if we're sitting down playing, and you're playing your Avengers team, and I'm playing, I don't know, was a one-man army team, Goblin King or Unimind or something, you're going to sit down and already have in your head exactly how you're laying everything out. And in the old rules, you already knew that you're expanding by 2 columns, 2 rows, or 3 columns, 2 rows, and you generally automatically set them up, put them down, and I just have to assume that your team can't fit in the normal starting area. Like, I basically have to trust what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I could trust you, Sam, but there might be some players that are like, oh yeah, you expand by 3, and then just go do it. And then they put their figures down however they do it, and I have no idea if they fill their starting area, or if they get 3. Maybe they only get 1. I have no idea. This makes it where, yes, you have to visibly fill your starting area with your Colossals before you can expand.
Yeah, I think one thing that, I play a lot of tournaments around here, and the people I play against, I know, and are, friends, and we're friendly, and we're, but I think what people need to realize is, like, there's a set way of doing it. When you roll for map, and then, like, player 1 needs to place their figures first. Like, I know when I'm playing against someone I know, it's like, okay, we're setting up, and like they be player 2 and they're already set up, and I'm like, dude, I'm still getting my figures out. Like, you got to give me a second, Like, I think that's something that as a community we have to, like, realize that player 1 needs to set up first, and then player 2 can determine, like, okay, are you expanding? How do I expand? And then go from there. Like, I know we're all, like, friendly and we're all trustworthy, but I think if we got into that system where we did that, then when we get up to high competition, there's no big arguments. There's no big, like, well, I don't know. Like, he didn't let me set up first. Well,
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't play a lot of heavy Colossal teams, like a ton of Colossals, but I can see people who play Colossals like Avengers regularly not liking the change, but it's one where they're just gonna have to get used to it. I think it's a good change.
I think it's a good change. Yeah,
I thought it was silly that you can expand the starting area like 4 and go like, I'm 4 squares closer to you now, like you said in Genosha, where you're like significantly closer to me now.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I haven't put it on the map. I think it just, if I was to play Avengers, I think it's gonna hurt just how I play Avengers. Now, different people play Avengers teams different than I do. Just, I'm thinking how I played it in Rock Cup. If I had this change, I don't know if I'd play Avengers in Rock Cup with this change, just because I don't have that extra boost of, hey, I'm closer to you. I'm standing right on top of my Mjolnir, vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. So. All right, well, let's get into click number 2, our tournament reports and analysis.
Click 2. Tournament reports and analysis.
I'll kick things off with the result from our Rock Online qualifier that we had on January 26th. We had 13 players, so it was a good turnout into the qualifier, and we had some big name players.
It was stacked. It was super stacked, man.
And we had PJ, we had Tyler, we had George Massue, Nate White, Micah Love, Lucas Van Hollen, a lot of other people out there that came to play. It was really fun to watch. I helped set up, but my man Chad was the one who judged it, and he did a great job judging the tournament, so thank you, Chad, for doing that. But the winner of the tournament was, once again, PJ Bolin won the tournament. He had a very, very close win. It went down to the second turn. Win over Nate White. Which that's not a slight at you, Nate. I'm sorry. It's just really funny to see that. PJ played.
And the thing is, Nate plays Avengers teams all the time, so I bet he just knew it was coming. Like, he was just like, well, all right, here we go. Like, let's put my Put
Well,
my depends on and let's do this.
well, funny enough, PJ played Tyler earlier in the event, and they met again in top 4 because we cut the top 4.
Yeah.
And basically, Tyler said, "I'm not playing this again," because Tyler's playing Wales, and Avengers is one of the not a definite counter, but if he loses map, it's he could win, but it's a rough go.
I'll tell you what. Next time I see Tyler, I'm going to smack him just because he didn't play Professor X.
Yes, that was the main reason he didn't want to play it again. So PJ's team, he played the Avengers theme team with Hawkeye and Star Fox and a mountain of giant girls, and you had a ton of your Eric Masterson, your Old Man Cap, but he didn't play Mjolnir. He played Exospecs, which I believe he put on Star Fox, and then the reason he played this team is because he wanted to play at least once Proximity Midnight Spear on Hawkeye. From what I understand, that is the reason why he played this team. Because Hawkeye could do that where the spear, I think, is if you do a ranged action, you can deal them damage and they get immobile or something like that. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. But the range is only 6, so Hawkeye loses 2 to his range.
But I think it's a May. You don't have to do it, right? Or do you have to?
I think you have to, because when I was thinking about playing the spear, it was one of those ooh, I really like his 8 range, though.
Yeah.
Well, we can look it up.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
We're not encyclopedias, people.
Okay, so
you're talking to Sam here, so.
All right, so it's 8 points indestructible, range action, make a range attack with a range value of 6. So you don't have to. It's a range action to do this. So you do a running shot, and you could just regular attack instead of doing this. So he can do a running shot, hit normal, running shot, hit normal. Now he's within 6, and then he could target us in.
With the spear.
Yeah,
that's
so
kind of gross. Way to go, PJ.
If it was a requirement, I would say that's not good, but it's it's interesting. We might see it again. We might not. I don't know.
Oh, we'll definitely see it for sure.
Yes, somebody will play it.
No, because PJ is such a high level player, and people take. I don't want to say net deck, but people will be like, "Oh, PJ won with it. I could still play with it." How many people have been playing, Unimine and stuff because Dale did so well with it. So,
I mean, it'll get people thinking about it, and it goes from shower thoughts. You're in the shower and you're scrubbing. You're like, that would be a great idea to put this on this person. I should play this team. It goes from that.
Hawkeye was one of the first people that everybody was like, the spear needs to go on Hawkeye. I'm glad that PJ made it work. I'm super happy. But next time I see Tyler, I'm definitely going to smack him just because he didn't play Professor X. Because every time I played Tyler, he played Professor X.
Well, to be fair, I don't know if he owns Professor X currently because I loaned him mine for Worlds. So he may not have one currently.
Come on, Tyler. You won Worlds. You can buy a Professor X Prime.
You know what? I should trade mine and say this was from this.
It's a World's champion piece.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in the buy, sell, hold section.
There you go. Have Tyler sign the card too.
So let's talk about Nate a little bit. He came in second. He was rocking pretty much a trademarked Nate White build. It consisted of Thrill Killer Robins, is kind of his bread and butter. Chase Angel. He loves both of those figures for good reason. He had 2 Surters. He had some Groots. I think more than one. Maybe more than one. Not just one Groot. He had a bunch of giant girls, a Carnage, and a Big Tony. He had the Robin map bonus, which I believe allows them to ignore hindering for movement. And then a bunch of IDs. He also had a Proximity Midnight Spear also. So nice. For those that aren't aware, just send Nate a message because he'll gladly tell you about Thrill Killers. He loves those Thrill Killer Robins for good reason. Yeah. I really like them. It's mostly when a character is KO'd by attack after resolutions, remove an action token for Robin. But additionally, when Robin is KO'd, give an action token to each opposing character within 6 squares. And he's only 40 points. He's got great stats. He's got stealth. If you give him that Robin map bonus where he can ignore hindering, I believe, for movement, he can get nasty real fast. For a little 4-point figure.
I had the joy of playing against these Thrill Killer Robins. I think it was the first time I ever played Nate. It was in Lexington. And I think it was the limited format that we played in, and dude, they're a pain in the butt, like for real, like because you're just like you don't want to deal with them, but then like you're killing other things, and they're like, okay, take an action token off, and you're like, son of a, like, so they're always attacking. Like if you kill something, they're always attacking you, and they do have good stats. So then I was like, crap, I gotta deal with these stupid Robins because they're only 40 points. So I'm like, here I am trying to take down like the heavy hitter that can really screw with me, but then like I got these 40-point figures that are just messing with me, and I'm like, okay, I gotta start taking these 40-point characters out now. So
You know what I want to see? I want to see a Thrill Killer Robin and a bunch of those Foot Elite soldiers.
oh gosh,
So
and
if
then
you
they
kill,
just kill themselves, and then you just take tokens off, and
yeah, because if you don't kill my whole force in one turn, the moment you kill someone, all my Robins will be able to attack because they won't have action tokens, and then all the Foot Soldiers will be able to throw stuff. Which we did have a Foot Soldier team in the tournament. Hunter Man played it. That's kind of his go-to, and it's always fun watching him play it because it's a team you wouldn't think about, but it came
but if
out
you
of the
don't
blow.
think about it, it creeps up on you, and you're like, holy cow, what just happened?
Exactly.
You know, there's so many good teams that are out there that I just, it astounds me when I look at these build sheets. I'm like, how did that work? And you look and you're like, wow, that really did work. Like, I still
that-
think Pim Tank would be good at 150. You know, if people would just play it.
Now you can see all the builds for this qualifier on our Rock Online Facebook group. I posted it under the announcement of PJ winning, and I posted all of the builds on there. So definitely check it out if you're interested. We have the gold, silver, bronze, first, second, and third out there in color, so you know who won what. Sam, so I heard that there's a little qualifier up there in the Midwest in your neck of the woods. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, we did. We had one in Owensboro. And I whooped up on some boys. No, I did win. End up winning, but it was close. Like I went in there and I was telling people, I was like, I'm about 60% confident. Like I am not super confident in this. It was a stacked tournament. We had, I think, 15 players, which was
nice.
good because for what we had some snow that
Oh,
morning,
yeah.
so it was not the best weather. But we had a good turnout. I mean, I was looking around the room and I was like, wow, like we're going to have a top 4. And like there's 12 players here that could be fighting for 4th, And I was lucky enough to get in top 4 with our teammate David. He was playing a Don't Die team.
Oh, yes.
Yes, a pain in the butt. But then also Bob and Randy from Team CWO made top 4, and Bob and Randy were playing such an awesome team, just out of the box. And Randy comes up with some just rando teams that you're just like, wow, that worked, and that's awesome. But they were playing like, I have Bob's sheet here. Like Star Fox, they were playing the 2-starter, Fast Forces Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Those Hulks.
The Star Hulk set Quake and stuff.
Yeah.
They were playing the Venom Harness, Exospecs. Sometimes I think Bob was playing the Mirror.
Did you say
Did
you say they were playing the Venom Harness?
Yeah, the Venom Harness, Exospecs, Mirror,
Okay.
Miss Marvel, like 5 giant girls. They had the Tony Stark car,
Yeah.
and they had a bunch of IDs. So they were basically coming over and making like 4 attacks with Hulk.
Yikes.
And they had 2 Hulks. So it was rough. Like I played Bob in top 4, and he placed me on the WizKids office. And I basically moved up, and I stayed in stealth, and I made him kind of move up to me, and I just had to be like, okay, he's going to come up with Hulk. Like, I know at some point he's going to have to. And he had to blow up some walls, get into position, came up with Hulk. He did end up hitting my uni, but I hit like 3 shape changes in a row.
Ooh, clutch.
And from then I just killed Hulk, and I just kind of stood my ground. So it was interesting. It was very interesting. I was quite shocked. I know David played was it Bob and Swiss, and David was like, I did not expect the Hulk to come over and hit me 4 times. So it was neat. I played David in the finals. David and I had played each other for like 4 times before that because we're teammates. We practice. We play against each other on Thursdays. Yeah, if you talk to Daniel, I don't play Unimind very well.
Yeah, you did not. No one asked Daniel about this match, please.
Yes, he'll give you an earful of what I did wrong, but I keep reminding him that I did win. So there were many matches. Yeah, there were many matches that Daniel came around and he just kind of looked at me. I was just like, okay. And afterwards, he's like, why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that. You should have done this. I'm like, well, it worked out for me, so I didn't see it.
I mean, I'll admit, I was watching it online at home, and there was a part where you were up on points, and the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, I felt like this was an episode of The Flash. I was sitting there like, run, Sam, run. And you're like, I think I'll pick Flurry or something. And you're just going to attack. I'm like, no, please.
Yeah, I know. I totally did not remember that David had Exospec because during the first game we played in Swiss, I shot his Exospec's turn 1. Like, I moved out. Like, he I just shot him. And so he didn't have him. So then we met in the finals. And, like, here I am, like, I was super tired. Like,
yeah.
I was drained. I had like how people were like, no stress, she's pregnant and everything. I'm like, no, I was dying. Like, I was drained. I was borderline just gonna like give up. And then I was like, okay, Lockjaw pick Flurry, rolled a 6, and I was like, oh shit. And he's like, and I'm like, you have freaking Exospecs. Like, and I was like, oh my god, here goes Lockjaw. Like, Lockjaw's gonna die. But yeah, it's just I make mental mistakes, and I'm not perfect. But I know.
Hey, but you won.
I won, and it was fun, and like I said, it was really good, really really good time there. So it was nice to nice to win at the slaughterhouse. So.
It was very entertaining to watch. I will give you that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I hit 3 or 4 crit hits against David.
Yep.
So, I mean, now he blames it on the baby. So, but anyway, they also had a tournament in Texas.
What?
The same weekend, and got some of their results. Jeff Faro won. I believe he's part of Team Juggernaut, and he won with the typical Texas team. I believe, the Captain Kirk, Overdrive, Ironheart, WizKid, Sam Cap, Groot, Surtur, Giant Girl, Pin Pocket Tank, and some ID cards.
And a cowboy hat.
And he also played with the Venom Harness. So I'm wondering if he put the Venom Harness on Cap or Captain Kirk.
I would think Kirk.
I was thinking that too, because when he moves, he can, I think, Quake or Blades for free.
Well, with Venom Harness gives you +1 to all stats and you get Battle Fury. It's at range.
But I think Captain Kirk, when he's moved or placed, he can use Blades or something free. But I mean, it's a typical team that you see down in that region. I know a bunch of the Clixed men have been playing it. Some played it at the Rock Cup and stuff. It's actually a really, really good team. I really like it. It's really get into your face and let's roll some dice kind of team.
Yeah.
Kind of throws you off guard. But yeah, I kudos to Jeff for winning with that. I'm looking through the sheets here.
So real quick before you look at the rest of the sheet, let me clarify because I'm sure people's going to be like, oh no, they don't know Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk, if he has not moved this turn, he may use Close Combat Expert as free.
Okay, so
I'm guessing that was the thought process there. Anyway, continue. Sorry,
but I think even if he's carried, he can still do it. That's why they're doing it.
Right, if he hasn't moved.
Yeah, Overdrive carries him, places him, and then he can use Close Combat.
Yep.
So, it's, like I said, it's really, really good. Like, just in your face. I mean
you give him Venom Harness, he gets through Shape Change, you put both of Close Combat into damage, and he's doing 11 attack for 5 damage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good.
And he's got a Perplex from Sam Cap.
Yep.
And Ironheart has Outwit, top dial.
Yep.
So depending on the placement, it could just
And you got WizKid.
WizKid, yeah. It's really, really good. I've seen it played, and it'll creep up on you, and it's pretty good. It's, like I said, the Clixmen are the ones that I think came up with it, and they've been running it a lot. There was another team on here. There was a Green Arrow team, Green Arrow Anarchy. I always love Anarchy teams.
Yeah.
Matt Donham played Alex Wilder, Sheriff Strange, Zatanna, Lord Chaos, and
Lord Chaos and Master Order,
and Tri-Sentinel and a start card. I thought that was really cool because, Tri-Sentinels, we saw a couple teams play that at ours, and it was if you don't know what Tri-Sentinel does, please read up on it because it's gross and awesome at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And to see Lord Chaos and Master Order played is just awesome. And of course, Sheriff Strange. You're going to see Sheriff Strange played, all around now. Because if you play Sheriff Strange with Tri-Sentinels, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah. It's funny. Sheriff Strange, not to go off on a tangent, but
yeah.
Sheriff Strange is one of those pieces where everyone talks about him being played and playing him, but no one ever does. Like, I haven't seen, I don't think anybody in the Rock Online tournament played it. Maybe there was one person who played it.
Here's the thing.
We did have one. Kurt Calvadores.
Yeah.
Did play one. Yes.
I think that it's playable. Jason played a team it's gross. I did not want to play against Jason. I did have to play against Jason Swiss. I only beat him by 10 points. It is so gross. You put two of them together. Now, the only bad thing with Sheriff Strange is it takes a lot of positioning. It takes a lot of setup. Yeah. As far as, with a uni team or a Sam Cap team or something, you can kind of just throw them out there and you just play. With the Sheriff Stranges, you kind of have to set it up and make sure you have your ducks in a row and know. So I think people are still playing around with it, but it's good. I have had to play against it. And like I said, if you don't know what Tri-Sentinels do, look it up.
Oh, and I will be amiss to say that Lucas Van Hollen also played Sheriff Strange. He'd be very mad at me if I did not mention he also played. So I had two.
And I think people are thinking oh, well, the only good part of Sheriff Strange is if you do the call out, you do double action token. That's not the only good thing about Sheriff Strange. He's Mystics. He's got the +2 perplex. He's got a perplex, and it's gross. Yeah. If the right person gets a hold of him and makes the right team, and I'm telling you, Daniel and Jason and them are close. They're really close. And I think if the right person gets a hold of it and gets it mapped down to maps and placement, it's going to be unstoppable. I only beat it by 10 points, and I was playing the uni build.
Yeah.
It came down to if I hit a 7 or 8. I think I had to hit an 8. And if I hit the 8, turn 2, I win. Now, I wouldn't say I win necessarily. Now, I had to hit some shape changes, and he had to miss a couple times. But it significantly ups my chances of winning, but I have to hit that 8. I don't hit that 8, I just lose. Period. Done. Might as well just say, you won, here's 670 points. Let's go on and have a cheeseburger. So,
I think Sheriff Strange would see a lot more play if Blackbird was back in the picture. To be honest.
Yeah.
Because Sheriff Strange, essentially, it doesn't shut down a Blackbird team, but it slows it down significantly.
Now, I think Blackbird will come back after retirement.
Well, that's debatable. You might see... Well, everything changes when retirement comes.
Hawkeye goes away.
Yep. But Sheriff Strange still exists.
I don't think it's slow. I don't think it is detrimental to the Blackbird as Hawkeye is.
I think you'll see the Wolverine teams come back, I think. But Blackbird, does the first turn, call in somebody, then pop out Leech or someone, and you can't do that unless you want the Blackbird to just chill in the back because he's going to get 2 tokens and push.
But there's leaderships.
I know. There's lots of
So,
leaderships. It's riskier.
You take your chances on hitting a leadership or two. So
That's true.
I mean, I give it to Matt Nonham. I gave him a hard time because he plays Goblin King a lot, and I was so proud of him for playing a non-Goblin King team. But to see Lord Chaos and Master Order played, I was like, wow, someone played with that. That's like a paperweight right now. But
I will say Matt Dunham is most likely going to be disappointed when retirement hit because he really does love those Bat Rocks from Vendors Defenders War. They will be retiring soon, so... My heart goes out to you, Matt Dunham. I'm sorry.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people down in the Texas area that are going to be really sad come retirement. Like Micah played his Shredders.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there was some Green Arrow Anarchy teams, and the Captain America, Captain Kirk team is solid. I give it up to Jeff for winning with it. I know they had a good turnout, so I mean, this level of play is insane, and I go into tournaments not super confident anymore because there's so many teams out there that you're just like, I don't even know what this piece does, and you're just kind of you're in the dark almost. And there's a lot of good players now, so.
And it's January.
So what's gonna be like in June?
This is usually January is usually the dead time, and December was a little slower, but man, January is kicked off with a lot of high quality tournaments. So is a little bit of a taste to come, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So a little bit of peek behind the curtain. Right now, or sometime soon, the men are the other guys, the main 3, are recording their other episode of Clixed Off at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah, they're recording here soon. They're doing a big set review, but
so I felt a little jelly that we didn't get to do a set review. So here's what I want to do. We're not going to go through. I would like to go through almost every piece, but I want it to almost be like a rapid fire type scenario. Because I feel like, Sam, that your opinion and my opinion matter.
People do listen to us. Now, they may not agree with us, but they do listen.
So the way I want to break this down is I want to do what I call trash, casual, borderline, or meta. Every piece is going to fall into this category. Either the piece is absolute trash and shouldn't be played. It's casual, so if you're playing in a local 400 event, great. Borderline is... it's going to be a staple of meta teens, but maybe in the right spot it could, or just plain out meta. You will see this piece, maybe not on every team, but it's definitely you're gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know you haven't played in a ton of pre-releases. I played in 2, and the second one we opened a lot of different boosters to do a cool sealed event. So I've played with a lot of these figures. So we'll kind of bust through some of the comments real quick. Do you have your figures up? You ready to look at this on?
I'm ready to look. Yep.
All right. So we've got Spider Girl 1A. What are you thinking?
I haven't really played much, so I'm gonna leave this mostly up to you.
Okay.
I got a few that I've played with or seen play that I'm like, oh, I hate that. I played that and it was really good, but I didn't see Spider Girl.
Okay, so Spider Girl, she's definitely going to be a casual piece. She's got some New Warriors, Young Avengers keywords. It's the May Parker Spider Girl. She'll be pretty good. Okay stats, sort of. She's probably a casual piece. The Prime version Venom, this will be casual too. I think it might be borderline for your like Rock Age events, because she can be brought in. Well, now she'll take your Prime spot, but she can be brought in technically with the Venom ID card. And she has that Incapacitate. When Venom uses it, after resolutions, give an action token to each other opposing character within 2 squares in line of fire of a hit target. So if you needed to do like a blanket across the board, like Venom hit for Incap, so if there's a borderline caption, that she would probably fit into that.
Mm-hmm.
You got Silver Sable at number 2. She's okay. Her stats are alright. 11 attack, 3 damage, leadership, energy explosion, mastermind, which I'm not thrilled with as a defensive power.
Yeah.
But the key thing is during force construction, choose a named keyword, and she gets that. So it's not just like Thanos Prime where he gets just a random keyword. She can get a named one. So there might be a scenario where you've got 50 points, you need a leadership. She's got okay stats for 50 points, okay range. You might need to fit her in. You probably have better options, but if you're trying to make a spy theme, or you're trying to make one of those random Midnight Suns, or one of those random keywords that just doesn't have enough, she could fill in.
Yeah.
Kind of skipping ahead, we got Lizard. My general opinion of all these Sinister Syndicate low point 50 point figures is I would say almost all of them are borderline. A lot of people won't agree with that, but Sinister Syndicate got a huge boost this set. There's a lot of really good Sinister Syndicate, and most of these 50 point ones has the whole Sinister Six United, which gives them stealth, but only if you have 3 or more characters. Improved movement, ignores hindering if you have 5 or more. But the big one is if you have 6, their combat values are increased by 1.
Yeah, I ran into a lot of that in our sealed. People play the Sinister Syndicate, and like running into stealth, I was like, dang it, I don't have anything that busts stealth, you know? And then they were like, I'm all +1s, and you're like, oh great, I'm a 10 attack on your 18.
Exactly.
Or 19 almost, and you're like, great. And then a lot of them have combat reflexes in their lower dials, and you're like, dang it, now I'm hitting like I need a 9.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely playable right now. If you have the right setup and right points and everything like that. So
yeah, it falls in the category of the King Sharks.
Yeah.
Because they have the same trait and they rely on 6 people. And what do you know? Lizard at number 3 and Rhino at number 5 have animal keyword. So there you go. Go crazy.
There you go. Put him with Lockjaw.
Number 4, Morbius is trash. I'm sorry. Zombies aren't good. He's cool and sealed because he's got outwit. But I'm not paying 60 points for 5 clicks and no reducers.
Yeah.
He's got 17 willpower.
Rhino's sculpt is pretty good. Just,
yep.
I mean, his Sinister Syndicate, but his sculpt is pretty good. Sandman's sculpt is pretty good. I pulled Sandman, but I did not play Sandman because I didn't really like what he does. But
surprisingly, he was great in sealed because he's got top dial, super senses, and shape change. And
then if he has no action tokens, he chooses a standard power printed on his card that he cannot already use. So he's got sidestep, and then you basically give him charge. So he's moving for 6 squares at least with a charge. So
and in most of the field events, he has the Spider-Man team ability. So I copied Underworld, and so he carried all his Sinister Syndicate buddies all around the place, and was like, all right. And I chose Invulnerable. So I've got Super Senses, Shape Change, and Invulnerable.
And that's huge in sealed, because a lot of these pieces are like 3 damage, 2 damage.
Yeah. So I don't think the Sinister Syndicate, like I said, I'm going to put all of them on borderline. Same with hold on. Okay. So I would put all the Sinister Syndicate basically in the borderline field, only because there's just so many in this set, and there's so many opportunities. And we'll just go ahead and skip ahead, because, a lot of these other figures are just kind of common. Is there any in the comments that you really just kind of looked at and said, yeah, that guy's pretty cool, I really wanted to put him, or play him, or...
I played with... Who gives you the hired flunky?
Almost everyone. I don't think any of the commons do.
No, who was the guy I played? I don't know. He's got like leadership, and then like if you hit the leadership, you can do like 2 hired flunkies.
So there's probably at least like.
Well, yeah, I played with one of those guys. Gosh, I can't remember his name. Like I said, I only played one sealed this set.
So this is clearly why you and I are not on there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. We're not qualified for this part, but it was actually really cool because I hit a lot of leaderships, and I was like, the one has stealth, 9 attack, 1 exploit damage
Yeah.
with a 5 range. So I mean, like, there were times where I was just shooting a piece with no reducer, or even with like invulnerability. I was just like pushing them to death, or hitting a
Nice.
piece with mystics with it, just to kind of get them off the board. And they were kind of like, I tied up a couple pieces with them, so they're really good like tie-up pieces. So
Yeah.
I mean, I put that on borderline.
Well, I
maybe.
had a bad experience with mine because I stupidly played a team where I was making sure I had 6 figures, so Sandman and Vulture and Lizard could have +1 stats. First turn, I hit that 6, and I'm like, heck yeah, I get hired flunkies. I pop them out on the field, and I'm like, son of a gun, what have I just done? I had 8 figures, so I proceeded to take 2 turns to push them to death. So I went back to 6. But real quick, personally, me for some of the comments, the 014 Black Panther, he's pretty expensive at 90 points, but he gives a lot for 90 points because he has traded stealth, blades, claws. He has top dial, combat reflexes, super senses, willpower, leadership, outwit, charge, precision strike. That's a lot.
It's a lot with, yeah. 0 range, though.
Well, he's a Black Panther. What do you expect?
90 points and no indom either. That's.
Well, no, he's got top click willpower.
Willpower, but yeah.
But I get you. I get you.
You know, he gets hit once, and you're just kind of like, okay, now I'm just got a 90-point figure out here that's kind of stuck and not really doing anything.
One figure in the comments, because I only think there's really one that is gonna hit the meta, I think, is what everyone calls Spider Dad. Spider-Man 15.
Is that the fat Spider-Man that Jason talks about?
Yes.
Yeah, he's all on that right now.
It's because he has a Spider-Man ally and police team abilities.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 30 points. He has Earth X, Spider-Man family, police, and reporter keywords. He only has one special power. Leap Climb. When Spider-Man moves after resolutions, you may choose a friendly standard character adjacent to a square he moved through. If you do, place that character adjacent, and it can't be given a costed action this turn. So it's basically a really fancy way of writing carry without him actually carrying anybody.
Yeah, so you're moving him, then you're like, okay, place this character next to him because he would move kind of next to that square, and it's kind of a neat way to get like an outwit without moving your outwit like a costed action to move your outwit.
Yeah, like I can see, and he's only 30 points. He also has support. Only a 9 attack, though, so it's not amazing. He does click down on click 3. He's 4 clicks long. Click 3, go to Perplex. But he has that movement power the whole dial. So he might be like a cheap Spider-Man family carry taxi, sort of. He's so cheap, and that like pseudo carry was super helpful and sealed. And I could see someone doing something with him, because he's only 30 points, and once Overdrive's gone, there's not a lot of... you still got Kite Man, but there's not a ton of cheap taxis, and he's kind of pseudo a taxi, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, so have you taken a look at any of the uncommons? Is there anything that pops out at you, and you're like, oh yeah, that's amazing?
I played King Britain.
Really?
I pulled him in our sealed and played him, and he was actually awesome. Now he's 120 points. He's got Indom. He has Flight, which is awesome and sealed because he carried some of my figures around. But he's got an 18, impervious defense. And then if he's the only friendly character closest to an opponent's starting area, friendly characters modify defense +1. So like you're moving him out and you're leaving all your other characters back, and you're just like, okay, now they've all got +1. He's kind of hard to kill. He's got an 18 defense. He's got 4 damage with leadership.
Yeah.
And you may choose up to 2 characters instead of 1. So, and then when you hit him with an attack, you can remove an action token from him. So he can take a few hits.
Yeah, I dig it.
And if you're gonna hit him, then you're taking a Mystics.
Yep.
He's Mystics. And then he's also taking an action token off, so then now he's going to really wreck your face with 4 damage or 3 damage. So I digged him, and I think he was great. Only problem is he got outwitted a lot. So
oh, yikes.
and, but he was actually really fun to play. So I don't see him being meta or anything like that, but I think he's a good fun piece to play, like on a rando, weekly night, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna play a 120 point Mystics piece that's gonna be hard to kill. So
Yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately never got to play him. I played surprisingly with almost the rest of these uncommons. They're okay, most of them, because you got a lot of the kind of the crime boss ones, Crime Master, Fancy Dan.
yeah,
Jackal is out there, who he's Sinister Syndicate and is pretty neat. I think the only really standout one from the uncommons is going to be your President Osborne, who I could
Yep.
see definitely being on a Sinister Syndicate theme team. You throw him out with a Doc Ock, the cool LE one, which is still legal.
Mhm.
And that means he could be the bodyguard and get +1 to his attack and defense, because you don't want to do damage, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he could create hired flunkies. He could do leadership. He's pretty darn good for 50 points.
And once he gets those higher flunkies, he just puts those by him, and then you're just he masterminds them to them. And you're just getting 0 points. Yeah.
Yep, and then he can start those hired flunkies. They gain the keywords of all friendly characters with the Underworld team ability. So that means that all the flunkies now have Sinister Syndicate, and they're going to carry around your Doc Ock now if you really need them to.
Yeah, I had to use Energy Explosion to get rid of all of Daniel's freaking hired flunkies next to his President Osborne. Because I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm not going to keep hitting your President Osborne. I'm just going to freaking Energy Explode them all to get them off the dang board. Now, what are you going to mastermind to?
I will say that there is one figure definitely in the uncommons that is going to be in the meta, and you should expect to see him. At least personally, I think so. And that's the Skull at number 30. He's only 40 points, only 3 clicks, but he's got leadership top dial, which is always big. He's got a special mind control trait. He could do mind control when the Skull uses it as a range action. He may target one character regardless of range, still requires line of fire, but can't target other characters. So if you put him on a theme team, which he has crappy keywords, he only has Earth X, but you could build a decent Earth X team. If you could build a decent one high enough where you can win map, you put him on an open map like Sporting Arena, or you probably don't want that much hindering. So something more open than that. You could start mind controlling people from across the field. Now you got Colossals to worry about, but that's where the next one is. As long as you don't mind control Surtur, his defensive power, he has 2 stop clicks. 2.
Yeah.
For 40 points. He's gonna be good. If you need him, you can put him on there as a 40-point leadership, and he's gonna be a constant threat because he can just mind control you from across the field if he wants to, as long as he's got line of fire. So
yeah, that's gross and he's got 12 attacks starting out.
Yep.
So there's really no need for a perplex on attack or anything like that. You can just save your perplex for a defense or something like that, and he can take a hit. I mean, if Surtur comes over and kills your 40-point character, then all right, well, they killed 40 points. You've also mind controlled, hit something on their team, or moved it closer to you to kill, and then you're going to kill Surtur for 25. I mean, the game would fluctuate, it would balance out. But
yeah,
he's definitely a 40-point piece that you could give up, but it's going to be hard to kill.
Yeah,
so.
I completely agree. I think he's one of those pieces you're going to try to find a good leadership, and even if you don't put him on a theme team, he's a cheaper leadership because there's not a lot of cheap leaderships outside of Groot. He's cheap. He's got that long range mind control. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, another thing is like, and going with the theme teams is, if you're not rocking at least a +5 or more, you're probably not worried about theme team at that point, because there's so many teams out there that's running +5, +7, +8 that you're just like, okay, you just win map. Unless they roll like a crit miss and you roll a crit hit or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you're just not worried about theme and you're just like, I'm going to play this because I want to play it, and you're not too worried about map, which a lot of the big theme teams are playing open maps too. So,
yep.
I mean, it could be good. It could be really, really good. So,
All right, so let's speed this up and just go through rares. Have you looked at
Yep.
any of the rares? What you
I
liking
think
out of them?
Stegron, I think people are talking about that just because the dinosaurs.
I love Stegron. Don't
Well, I
don't
mean,
belittle
it's just
him,
it's a
please.
Pog team. It's a Pog team.
You
Everybody's
know
like,
how I feel about Pog
I
teams.
know you guys want to just flood the map with these stupid Pogs, but you know what? I'll just eat through your dang Pogs, you know. But
This would give me an opportunity to buy. This is going to be so much better than Starro, because Starro you had to find a bunch of little Patrick action figures to put on your chips. You can go to the Dollar Tree and buy a little tub of dinosaurs to put them on your chips to make a Stegosaurus, Brontosaurus, or a T-Rex. So this is awesome. He's also Sinister Syndicate. He's another Sinister Syndicate. So I could play him, bring him along with Doc Ock or something, hide him in the corner, and just start popping out dinosaurs. And you're like, oh, I'm going to take out this Doc Ock. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a T-Rex.
yeah.
And I'm going to make that noise if you're playing me.
Yeah, I expect it. And then I'm just gonna wreck your team because I hate Pog teams, and or I'm gonna flip the table because I hate Pog teams.
Only other ones, there's not. I mean, you still have more hard flunky type dudes in the rares. I think the Ox at 43 is borderline. For two reasons. He has a combo that I think you can make work for certain teams. He has the new boss every week trait, which a lot of figures have. At the beginning of the game, choose a friendly character who can use Mastermind or Leadership, and a keyword that character has. Ox gains that keyword. This does not affect theme team, so it won't affect a theme team. But I'm thinking more of Ox has the team ability Underworld. So that means he can carry one person if they share a keyword, or two if they're less points than him.
Yeah.
So he has Top Dial, Charge, special trait, or a special ability. When Ox uses it, you may choose to not have his speed value. If you do, he can only move in a direct path. So you can pair him with an old man Cap to give him Avengers keyword, and then he can carry Sam Cap and carry her for 9. So I guess it's not a ton, because she gets a +3, you would carry her for 12, and he still gets to attack. So he gets to charge for 12 in a straight line. So you would need to win theme. It's situational, like I said. This is why it's borderline. But it's one where I'm like, okay, the potential's there, where I can use him to carry someone across the field, and then they do stuff. What was
that piece in War of Light? Oh gosh, I'm blanking right now. Weapon or Core? Remember Weapon or Core? How he could charge for like a ton, like his whole movement. I think it was like 10 or 11. It was gross.
Oh yeah.
From More Light. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I started playing around then, and I was like, "What is this piece?" And they're like, "You can move like a ton of movement," and I'm like, "What?" And at that time, I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And now I look back, I'm like, "That was so gross."
Well, what made it worse for the Weaponer? The Weaponer acquired War of Light 025. If anyone was wondering. He can use charge and running shot. When he does, his speed value isn't halved. Additionally, at the beginning of your turn, you may choose a standard attack power. So that was like the icing on the cake. You were like, all right, I could charge you from 10 away, running shot for 10, and I have an 8 range, 2 targets, and then I could choose Pen Psi or Energy Explosion. Oh, he was such a great piece.
Oh man,
Super
bring that back, WizKids. We need those for the Colossal Retaliation. Colossal Retaliators. We need that. Everybody's like, but you have Unimind people. Like,
you've got the tank. You've got stuff. Leave it alone.
You've got stuff. Just stop asking for broken stuff.
All right, so we've got the super rares. Now, we're not talking about any of the special objects in the set, because obviously all of them are awesome. I can't think of a single object. Maybe the web shooters is probably the worst one out of the 6 that we have in this set.
Beetle Booty, whatever you want to call it.
Beetle Booty is awesome, so you should your phrase.
Okay, well, let's agree to disagree, but all right.
Hey, I was rocking a Unimind. Was it Unimind? No, it was Cosmic Theme with Mistress Death, Lockjaw, and Unseen. And I equipped the Beetle Booty to Unseen, because Unseen can't stop but looking at that Beetle Booty.
Okay. Let's
and
agree
now-
to disagree.
And now he's a taxi. Like, that's the whole point. Unseen
Okay.
can fly. He can carry everyone.
Here's
Not everyone, but one
here's
person.
my thing with special objects.
Mm-hmm.
I play with Mjolnir just because Mjolnir is like Bay. Like
Mhm.
I don't care
Yeah,
what anybody
fair.
says. I think it's like the most broken
Mhm.
object in the game. Goes with almost any piece. But if I am spending an action to gain a object, it better be good. Like it better be like awesome. Like I mean, I play with a symbiote. Symbiote gives shape change.
How
I
dare
will
how
I will
dare you
take an
say.
action to do that. But to get an object to give me like running shot, the pieces that need it should already have it.
That's not
So-
true. I disagree.
I don't
Completely.
know. And then plus like nowadays like objects are like so they're unless they're indestructible, like I will shoot them. Like
I mean, okay,
you put an exospecs out there, I will shoot it.
but that
plain
carries a risk. Like the new special objects add a lot to the game. It's a big wrinkle. It's basically the new resource. That's how WizKids is doing it. That's why we're getting so many of them. But they come at a risk. You should not build your team relying on objects that can be destroyed. Plain and simple.
Yes.
Like exospecs, unless you can protect it, which you can.
Yeah.
You could play like what I'm toying around with is playing one of the KC figures.
Mm-hmm.
Put one of the KC figures, plop her or him, Red Robin, Iron, Power Woman, any of them, plop them in front of your object, and no one can shoot them unless they ignore characters, because you got first round immunity. Now that means your KC figure is probably going to die, but that gives you that one round to get it in case you don't get it. Either way, I think it's preposterous that you think that Beetle Booty is not amazing. It gives flight, toughness, and modified speed +2. That's just asking to make your okay support piece into a taxi, making it a much better support piece. So you could take.
I just think like here's my thing. I just think and I guess it's probably my gameplay style, but I'm more of like I want to get out there and play, and like I don't like to take 2 or 3 turns to set up my team.
Right.
Like I don't like to take 2 actions and make sure okay I gotta equip this piece and I gotta equip this piece, and I'm like I want to make attack turn 2. Like,
Right. But that's the thing. If you play
Yeah.
these objects and you're gonna try to destroy it, you're extending yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
for
true.
example, if you're playing Unimind and you are coming after my Exospecs or Beetlepod, that's awesome because that means you did not go equip your symbiote first turn. That means you ran all the way out here to kill my person or kill my object, which is okay.
I wouldn't say run out because if you pick an open map, like it just depends on map. But
Exactly.
I think the only good object in this set that is worth playing is the symbiote.
Yes, because everyone loves shape change. I get it. Symbiote's bad.
And it's 4 points.
Yeah.
Now you take a chance because it can be, taken by a Samcap or shot by a Unimind or anything. But like that's 2 points on your Unimind team that you can have back, and you can like, okay, now I can take a student ID off and maybe upgrade to a headmaster that's going to give me an inspiration that I really, really want. So I like it, but
I think it's just the game's turning where everyone is basically Hero Clicks is turning into a big dodgeball game.
it is.
Because
It's coming down to like, okay, I'm gonna give up 5 points to shoot your 12-point object, or your 8-point object or something.
Like, did you ever play dodgeball in like elementary school or anything like that? So you know how you have to run up to the middle, grab the ball, and run back. That's essentially what the game is now. You run up, grab your special object, and you're like, okay, now I can finally go attack.
Now I do like how these are like lights. Like a lot of these are light objects. So like you can play like 8 Batman or something, or like you could play just like a regular like cheap Pog or something, or like even like a giant girl, and you just go out and get your object for you. So you don't have to worry about picking something that has super strength to go out and get your Mjolnir, Or you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about getting a TK or something. You can just put something cheap on your team to just, okay, run out there and get my object for me, buddy, and bring it back to me. So
Yeah, I think that it's going to get to the point where these objects add so much to the game, and the people who are going to play them are going to know how to protect it.
Yeah.
Either high enough theme to where they don't have to worry about you getting first player and shooting it, or putting something in the way to make it where you can't shoot it.
Yeah.
Or if you do shoot it, you're going to be in trouble. I mean,
I definitely want to see the Ock arms played.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I'd like to see how the glider would work. I know giving someone running shot, I know what you just said, but in my head, I kept thinking of, man, I remember Balls of Fury really wishing he had running shot forever. So there's got to be like some pieces out there that, man, it would be awesome if they had running shot. They just don't. Like Krang. I think Krang from the Unplugged set has Pulse Wave maybe first turn, but he's got Sidestep for some bizarre reason.
I guess that's true. I mean, here's my thing. I think you're going to see Symbiote played, and I think you're going to see Mini Slayer played. Just because Mini Slayer basically is going to screw up anything of the opposing team of you equip something, and it's going to be like, okay, it's you can't equip it anymore, and that takes away, the shape change from Unimind or stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so let's wrap this up. So, what is there any other pieces that you're just looking at in the set, super rare chase, that you're like, yeah, I definitely want to play that piece?
Well, see, like I went on our sealed. I pulled ridiculously awesome.
Yes,
I pulled Chase Rocket Raccoon and the super rare Venom, and that was so much fun to play because the whole like Colin Venom verse, whatever, and it worked.
I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone would say it'd be so much fun to play a super rare and a chase and a sealed event.
But the only bad thing is they don't have Indom.
So no.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked at the point because like during sealed, you don't really have your taxis, you don't have your TKs and stuff like that. So if you pair it with a TK and like Rocket Raccoon has hypersonic, so if you TK'd him hypersonic, punch, call in super rare Venom, and he has blades, and it was awesome. But like I had to like take a couple actions to like, okay, do I want to push Venom, Rocket Raccoon? But I didn't want to push him because he has Outwit on top dial, and he could outwit someone's combat reflexes, call over super rare Venom, he blades them for 6. They're dead. I mean, it was fun. It was definitely fun. I just wish they had Indom. But I think everybody knows like the one piece that will be played, that'll be, I mean, if you can get your hands on it, as far as meta, is going to be the Venom Cap.
Yeah, that seems to be the popular one. Real quick, sorry, I'm trying to find the world's smallest violin that I could play for you.
Oh, yeah, I know. Because it doesn't have Indom.
Yeah, because you said, oh no, my chase and super rare just don't have it. There's me playing the smallest violin for you. Oh, worry me. Oh, I don't have Indom. How no?
But I mean, compared to like other pieces, that I was just like, man, this combo would work so much better if it had Indom. But I know. I mean,
as a guy who pulled 2 rares and had to buy his super rare.
I'm so sorry. I mean, everybody was like so mad because they were like, damn, because we pulled 2 chases.
Yeah.
And 2 super rares, and it was like, and it was so weird because that was the night we found out what we're having as far as a kid, and it was like just like the best day in the world because like we found out we're having a boy, and then we go to this pre-release and it's like, here we pull 2 chases, and everybody's like, yeah, this is just bullshit. And we're like, I'm so sorry, like it must have been like the baby or something, I don't know. But on the fair note, I did not win. I did not win the night. I lost to Jason by like
let's give it up for Jason.
35 points or something. So I mean,
but you won.
But I had to buy the first round, so I didn't really get to play 3 games. I just had to play 2, but it's fine. Like it was awesome.
But you won in the end because you took on.
Yeah, everybody was like, you did win because you pulled 2 chases, but I think the one chase you'll be able to see played is the Venom Cap. I think that's what everybody's wanting to play. It's going to be seen.
Yep.
I know Tyler is hoping to pull one. So
Yeah, I think the Venom Spider-Man has some interesting things to him. He's probably the only other one that might be borderline. Unless someone comes up with some cool Venom theme by using also the Venoms from What If.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be Captain Venom. Out of the super rares, you got a lot of cool super rares real quick that I want to talk about. You got Lady Octopus, Venom, Title Cap. Title Cap's okay.
Yeah.
He's probably going to fall in line with the Title Batgirl in the sense that he's going to be put on a team and be able to do something you aren't expecting because he has similar powers. He has the free move up one square and then make a close attack, which is kind of like her charge, sort of. But he could be used in conjunction with the Hulks because he has the free move each other friendly character one square. All right, well, they move, then they quake. So
yeah,
he's
or
got
when you
potential.
put the exospecs or something on him, then they're super gross.
Right. So he's got potential. Daredevil, I think, is absolutely meta. He is the super rare that I bought that night.
Yes, Daredevil is. I think he is the best piece in the set. Period.
Yeah, I would get that. He's the most fun to play. I will say that. Because I did not realize, because I only read half of the cards half the time. I was playing him the other day, and I rolled a crit hit. And I was like, this is awesome. And then they went to prob, and I was like, wait a second. You can't reroll sixes. Daredevil can't be chosen for Mastermind. Attacks made by Daredevil or by characters targeting him can't be rerolled if the attack roll contains a 6. Protective Pulse Wave.
That's so gross. So it's like a Fast Forces Jean Grey, but better. Because I mean, unless they don't roll a 6, but that's gross.
Yeah, it's very gross. Absolutely.
I like I said, I think he's the best piece in the set. Period. Like, you will see him played on so many teams in the near future, whenever it's legal. He's a hard piece to kill. You're gonna pair him up with Haha Joker, that is hard to kill with some exo specs. Like, now, I think it takes a little bit to set up that team, just because you kind of have to maneuver around and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you can have that all the time in the world because you can take the hits.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're Daniel and you crit hit a Daredevil and then roll another 6, then you pretty much
flurry,
kill their in a flurry, and then you've killed their Daredevil. But the chances of that is super slim.
Exactly.
I think, was it Tyler said they at their local event they put 19 attacks into a Daredevil?
Yeah, that's insane. He's a lot of fun to play for just 60 points.
But how are you going to get 19 attacks in a 45-minute game? That's a lot. So
exactly. All right. Well, I think we've dwelled enough on Earth X. Why don't we go ahead and move into Click 3, which is
I hope everybody likes our set review better than the guys, but we'll see.
Let's go to our buy, sell, hold section.
Click 3. Buy, sell, hold.
Typically during buy, sell, or hold, we talk about different figures that we think you should be trying to buy as quickly as possible, or what figs you need to sell while they're hot. Let's go ahead and kick things off. Sam, what figures are you wanting to buy right now, whether it be because they're going for cheap, or because there's just you don't see a lot out there, scarcity?
Well, obviously people are winning the Ultra Chase. Daniel's really won the Ultra Chase, if you don't know. But I think if you can find Tri-Sentinels for cheap, you
should be able to, because they're going on sale.
They're going on sale. I think it's always good to have 2 or 3 of them. I think they're really freaking good, people. And I'd be buying, if we didn't have a Daredevil or 2 of them, I think we'd be buying a Daredevil, or I know you need to pick up the Venom cap and stuff like that, but the set's not out, so we'll be getting our cases soon. But I think some of the new hotness right now is what you need to be buying. That's what I'd be buying. So, see,
I'm actually I'm gonna actually completely contradict you. I'm gonna
go figure, right?
Yeah, those are actually my sells. because it's pre-release, and so prices are ridiculous. You have people who want those figures now and don't want to wait before everybody and their mama opens a brick and has a bajillion of them for available. So Daredevil now is going for like $45 to $50. So if you want to get $45 to $60 or $50 and you don't want to have Daredevil, now would be the time to sell, because come February 6th or later, he's going to fall in price down to probably where I think he's going to be more like 30 to 35. He won't hit Wolverine prices because you can only play one. But he is still going to be the sought after super rare. So buys currently right now, I'm completely agreeing with you with the Tri-Sentinels. They're on sale. My local has them for sale for $25. They got 2 of them. Lucky Dice, I think, had them for 20, 25, something like that. You know, stores were getting them, but they're still limited quantities. There's only a certain amount of them. I would say the happy place is you probably want maybe 3, bare minimum 2.
Or you could be like Daniel and have 5 or 6.
Well, Daniel has 5 or 6 of a lot of things. Then
I lost count on Flora's. So,
so what cells do you have? I kind of gave a peek into mine. So what cells?
I mean, I agree with you about the selling of like the Daredevils and stuff like that right now. I don't agree with the pre-release jack up price things. And I know a lot of people have their opinions on it. And you have the people that are like, I want $300 for this piece. And it's like, dude, come on. Like, let's be realistic. You know, like getting $70 for a Daredevil is just ridiculous. I get it. People will buy it. So go ahead and sell it. But I just don't think it's right because I don't know. But that's just me. I have a different opinion than a lot of people. I think also right now, if you're selling, the meta season is vamping back up. If you have extra ID cards, and you have extra Chase Jeans, Chase Cyclopses, there's always people kind of looking for those that might be playing in the meta scene, because those are always good ID cards to have. And also the figures. So if you have extras and you're like, well, I need to get an extra $40, $50, you know, you can always sell those. So just because the meta scene is picking back up, I say that.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could start looking at selling some of the... This is probably your next couple months, last chance to really sell those meta figures that are about to retire for a premium. So
you
Hawkeye.
have an extra Hawkeye. People are looking for that hotness of Hawkeye to play in the last few tournaments. So
yeah, you still got time.
If anybody is willing to sell me a Goblin King for super cheap, I'm going to do a special Clixed off trophy, and it'll be publicized on the Facebook page. But I need a cheap Goblin King from What If, not the Hobbit. But if anybody wants to hook me up, please message me. So.
All right, so finally, what holds do you have? Do you have any? Anything you're just holding on to, you really don't want to move yet, you want to just kind of sit on?
I think obviously holding on some of the objects from the new set, holding on to your exospecs and your spears.
Yeah.
I don't see anything game changing from those objects, but with retirement happening in a few months, I think, you know, once Hawkeye is gone, I think having those objects are gonna vamp up, and you're gonna see a whole lot more slower play teams. Like your Don't Die, you're setting up 2 turns with your objects.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna see the full alpha team. So
yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
If I were to specify one figure that I would hold on, is probably Casey Power Woman. She's one of those. She was a WKO Grand Prize, but she is in some of the Winamaps. I know we got one in our Winamap.
So we had one in ours. So
yeah, so there's going to be more and more flooding the market. And her
she's
price
not going for very much, is it? I mean, she's
like 40, maybe 30, 40. She was at one point like 50 to 60. But she's going to see a lot more play once retirement hits and the shredders are gone. Because that whole, and she might see play before that, because she does give you a excuse me, a protection for your objects, unless they ignore characters, of course.
Yeah.
But she also gives you that +1 to your action total
So you put a
outside of
leadership.
leadership.
Yeah, so you put a leadership on your uni build. You get 4 actions. Put her. You get 5 actions. That's huge, especially with your Daredevil, Haha Joker, Ironheart team. That you're like, I really need that extra action to like move up and get in position or do something. Or like, I need to call an ID card, attack with ID card. I need to move my Ironheart. I need to do this. And you're like, I only have 3 actions. I need that 4th. You got your KC Power Woman.
Yeah, and I think
Completely agree.
Ultimately, she's going to replace Groot. I know that sounds crazy, but Groot has taken a huge hit, like we said earlier, with the expanded starting zones. I think it's like 50% chance maybe that you get Walking Wood because people just expand so much now with all the Colossals. And so that means Groot is a 20-point Colossal Retaliate with leadership. Still the cheapest leadership you get. But she comes in second at 25 points, and she gives you protection. So I think she's great. I think you hold on to her because she will see a lot more play.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into Click 4, our final thoughts.
Click 4, final thoughts.
With that, we enter Click 4, the KO click for final thoughts. Sam, what is your final thought for the episode?
Please go buy Tri-Sentinels. They're so good. I'm not just saying that because I'm like legit thinking I'm going to make a team with Tri-Sentinels. And like I said, Jason made a really good team at our qualifier. I think it just needs a little more tweaking and a little bit more practice. But he played it so awesome. And it's like, I'm just astounded at how well the Tri-Sentinels do. So, I'm in love with the Tri-Sentinels.
All right, so for my final thought is I hope next time we do a much better set review where we can actually say that we're so much better than the guys. Because they have a lot more practice than we do.
I mean, here's my thing is I only played in one sealed. So I'm not too familiar with this set, but
we got to talk about homework and we're looking up seals. We were thinking about tournaments and whatnot, but next time we'll do better next time.
They kind of threw that on us now. So, but they'll do a better set review. I mean, who knows? We people may like our set review better, Alex. They just won't say it out loud.
Well, what might happen is they might hear this episode after they hear that one, and then they may like
they may like our thoughts better.
I was gonna think they were gonna say that ours was completely terrible,
or they'll just cream us on the internet. They'll be like, Sam and Alex don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. You know what we need to do next time? We'll do a set review for a set that came out like a year ago.
There we go. We'll be like, we're going to set review World's Finest.
Yeah. Oh, no thank you.
The best set ever.
Oh, it was probably the set I bought the most boosters for and was the most disappointed.
Really? I love that set.
I kept getting platinums or whatever, the stupid super rare, that Metal Man. Stupid super rare for it. I pull it and I'd be like, is it a chase pack, God pack, or is it an ID? No, it's stupid platinum.
What set did Red Leader come in? Prime.
That's Thor.
Oh my gosh, we kept pulling stupid Red Leaders, and I'm like, I hate this piece. I hate this piece. Because you're like, okay, I want to pull a Thor booster, Prime. Oh, it's a Red Leader. You just threw it in the trash. You're just like, I hate this.
That's basically me with X-Men and Dust. I've pulled at least 4 Dusts so far. Never been so disappointed for a super rare. Anyway, that was a long final thought.
It's all good.
So that'll do it for this episode of Sudden Death. May your Earth X boosters all have chases, and may all your rolls be critical hits. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya!